Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. I'm 22 years old and 25 weeks pregnant with my first child. Today we'll be talking about my booking appointment, which was the first appointment that you have with your midwife. So when I found out I was pregnant, especially in the midst of this pandemic, I really didn't know what to do next. I tried calling up the GP, and if you live in the UK or London in general, GPs are really quite slow, and they would just have me on hold for like 47 minutes and then just cut the phone off after, and they didn't want you to come and see them because of the pandemic. And I'm like, bro, I'm going to have a baby, I have no idea what I need to do, but I know I need to go and see a midwife soon, because that's what, when I'm searching online, that's what the NHS guidelines are saying. Like, they're saying call the GP and get an appointment and have a booking appointment, you need to do this by this certain date, this certain week, blah blah. So I'm calling them and I'm getting nowhere. Then one of the women, I call back, I'm like, bro, I was literally on the phone here for 45 minutes waiting for you, and then you just cut the phone off with me. I need to do this. And then she was like, you can do it online. If I can do it online, why didn't no one tell me that in the first place? Then she's like, you can do it online, here's the address, blah blah. So then I'm like, fine. Go get my MacBook, I'm like typing in the thing. I find the webpage, and the first step in getting to a booking appointment was filling out this form for your chosen hospital. Now, if you're pregnant and you're like me, I'm in between houses at the moment, I still have decided what hospital I want to have my child in, and that happens to be one where I used to live rather than one more local to where I'm staying in the intermediate time, because I hope to go back and live near that area before the baby's due or just after. If you are in a situation like me where you are kind of in between places, you have the choice to go wherever you want. You can choose wherever you want to go in terms of hospital, as long as it's like realistic. So I've had bad experiences with doctors from other areas, so when I did get a midwife team that I really liked and I was comfortable with, I was like, I'm sticking with them. And even though I've moved intermittently, so I'm in between spaces, even though I've moved, and a lot of the health professionals in the local area are like, oh, so are you sure you don't want to change to this hospital? Are you sure that? No, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. I'm quite happy where I am. I'm more than happy to drive. And my midwife understood this about me, and she was like, as long as you're happy to come down here, I am happy to keep you. It may change after the baby's born, that you will have to have someone local to wherever you're staying at the time, but for now, I am happy to keep you. Which was great, because I felt really supported in that sense, where certain people, certain support workers are like, no, you shouldn't stay at the hospital, you should go here, you should go this. And I'm like, no, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do for myself and for my child. So just stick to your guns. So back to the story at hand. So choose the hospitals that you want to use. Do an online self-referral. That seems to be the best way, especially right now with lockdowns and the pandemic and those kind of things going on. For me, that is the only way it was effective in working, was doing a self-referral online. You can try calling your GP if you have a reliable one, but mine was not very reliable. So for me, it was a case of doing an online self-referral. After doing this online self-referral, and I did it quite early, like it was one of the first things I did after having a positive pregnancy test. I filled out this form online, and I was waiting early, and I was like, I need, because it kept saying like you needed to have had this appointment by week 10 or something like that, and I was like, time was going very quickly, and I hadn't heard anything, and I was like, oh no, I need to know that everything's going to be fine. And it literally felt like I was waiting for what seemed like forever to get a response regarding what was going to happen next. And obviously I didn't know, this is my first pregnancy, I don't know how things work, I didn't know what to expect, and just playing that waiting game really sucked, and not having anyone kind of keep you in the loop or tell you what was going on was shit. I'm going to break down for you what kind of things we discussed in the booking appointment, what kind of questions I was asked, what kind of information, what tests were taken, those kind of things, just so that if you are expecting your booking appointment to come soon, you may be a bit more prepared than I was, because I had no idea what kind of things they were going to ask me at the time. So hopefully this will help. One of the first things that we discussed was guessing the due date. And when I say guessing, I mean guessing, because it's an estimate, it is a guess. There is no strict way of knowing exactly when your child is going to come or not come. So what they do before you have your first scan, because your first scan is your 12-week scan and it's called the dating scan, and that is to date the pregnancy. Prior to this, the way that they guess the due date or estimate the due date is by counting from the first day of your last period. For me, that was May 5th this year, and so by the time I had my appointment, my due date should have been around the 10th or 11th of February. And what has happened since then is I've had dating scans and it's changed and these kind of things, and I'll get into that in another video. But for now, just so you know, when you do have your booking appointment, the first thing they do is they ask you, when was your last period? So if you have been actively trying to conceive, you'll most likely will have this information on hand in your little apps or whatever. But if you weren't trying to conceive, or it wasn't planned and you can't remember, don't worry too much about it. Just try and give a rough estimate. At the end of the day, you will get a more accurate reading from your ultrasound, which will happen around week 12 for the dating scan. So don't worry too much about it if you don't know, but try and come up with like a rough estimate. If you do know, that's fantastic. Defo note it down, because it is going to be one of the first things that they ask you. One of the major things that takes up so much time during the booking appointment, and it's probably why it is as long as expected, up to like an hour, is because they ask you about the family medical history. And that's not just your family medical history, that's the family medical history of your child's father as well. My experience, because of being pregnant during the pandemic and how lockdown and corona affected the kind of experience that you had, I had to go to my appointments by myself. So it can be quite difficult to know your child's father's history in detail. So if you do have a good relationship with your child's father, try and find out some of the basic information around his family medical history that you can then share with the midwife. I'm sure that you will know yours a lot better, and if you don't, that's absolutely fine. Do not worry too much about it. Do what you can. It was one of the major things that we spoke about for quite a considerable amount of time. It was going through the medical history to kind of pick up anything that might be cause for concern during your pregnancy due to the history in your family. If you have a good relationship with your child's father or your family and you do know your history, then that's great. You will definitely be asked about this. So if you can start thinking about people who have high blood pressure, diabetes, those kind of things, those are the kind of things that will ask you about. But they'll also ask you about like sickle cell or immune system diseases, those kind of things. So if you have a relationship with either your family, you can find this stuff out, that's cool. If you don't, do not worry. I can completely relate on that one, and I could only say what I knew. And if you don't know the details about your child's father, it can be very difficult, especially with only being allowed to have one person attend the appointment, i.e. yourself, attend your appointments, to remember someone else's complete medical history. So just try and note down some of the main questions. It might be worth doing a little Google online and seeing what kind of things people ask about. I will continue to tell you some of the things that they asked me about. But yeah, just a note, try and find out whatever you can about your medical history, your family's medical history, and your child's father's medical history and family's medical history. Where they record a lot of the information that you are going to discuss and talk about is in your green maternity book. But you will get a green maternity book. It does vary in colour. I know previous people described it as, oh, you'll get a purple book, but I actually got a green one. So I think it may change every year, I'm not quite sure. But you will get your maternity notes, and it is very important that you carry these around with you always. I know for me, I didn't really want people to know I was pregnant at the start, until obviously we had passed the first trimester and everything was okay, that kind of stuff. I didn't really want to share that news until I felt ready. So for me, I didn't want to carry around a bright green book in case people knew what it was and then where it is in my business. They give you one of these, and in another video I'll talk to you about the freebies and stuff that you get, but they give you one of these for keeping the maternity notes in. And for me, this is really in your face and baits out your life, and personally I'm not there for that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not keeping it in that and carrying it around. So I actually just carry around a little folder thing, and it's been really good because I can just put in all of my appointment letters, my blood test results, anything to do with like my ultrasounds can all be in one safe space. In that Bounty pack you did get like a pen that says pregnant care on it. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it says pregnant care on it. You got like a little small pack of pregnant care multivitamins. Multivitamins are defo something you should be trying to take from the start. As soon as you find out you're pregnant, try and get multivitamins. If you cannot afford them, go to your GP and say, I can't afford the multivitamins, can you provide me something, because your baby needs folic acid to develop healthily, especially in the first trimester. It's very crucial in their development, so make sure you can try and get some type of pregnancy vitamin. Like, I'm pretty sure even like Poundland, those kind of things, they sell folic acid. I know supermarkets sell it, but if you do have any financial trouble with it, do go and ask your GP for further advice on how to get it, and I'm sure they should be able to write you a prescription for it. That Bounty folder thing came with some leaflets in about like flu jabs and all those kind of things, and we was in July at the time, so I wasn't too worried about that. But it is very, very crucial that you do carry around your green notes with you wherever you go. The reason for that is, if you are ever in a place and something happens, God forbid, that your notes are with you. Whatever hospital you're taken to, they have your notes, they have your file, they can see that you're this many weeks pregnant, they can see what family history you have, they can see all these things without having to contact any other hospital and try and get hold of this information. It's all with you on your person wherever you go. I try and make it a habit to have quite a big handbag, keep that black folder in my bag, have those bits in there, have all my letters, have everything in one place, so that there's no chance of, I don't know where I put that. Because trust me, that will start to happen quite a bit, and it just, for me, just have everything centralized into one folder where it's not too explicit about what the stuff is. It's just a black folder, everything is inside there. That really benefited me. Keep your notes with you at all times in case anything happens. They have all the crucial information connected to you and your pregnancy, whether that's your midwife, whether that's your NHS number, everything is there. So if there was something that had happened, and God forbid it did, and say you weren't able to communicate this information to them, it is all there for them. So make sure you keep those with you. They ask you a bunch of general health questions like, do you smoke? What type of exercise do you do? Those kind of things. So just be honest about it. Smoking, drinking, exercise, those kind of things, whatever it is you do, just think about how much you do and make sure you do tell them and share this information with them. I've heard experiences from other women where they've said that they felt quite offended when they've been asked about being domestically abused or anything like that. But rather than be offended, I think it's important for you to note that that may be the only time that a woman gets to tell someone that they are in trouble. So it may not apply to you, but it applies to a lot of other women out there, and that may be their only opportunity to share with someone that they are experiencing domestic abuse or domestic violence, and they need some help. If you are in an abusive relationship, there is help available. There are people you can talk to, and there are people that do want to help you find a better place and be in a safe space for not only yourself but also for your child. Even if you're not pregnant, there are places, there are charities set up dedicated to helping domestic abuse survivors and helping them get back on their feet and helping them have a fresh start and a better life. So I'm going to drop some links and numbers and stuff like that down below, but it's very important that you realize you are not alone, and if you are asked about if you are being abused, share that information, get help. If you have a child on the way, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but take the opportunity to tell them what is happening, and I do hope you do get the help that you need. But like I said, I'll put the Domestic National helpline, which is 24 hours, their number down below. I'll put some links in there of people that you can contact if you are experiencing any kind of domestic abuse and you need some advice, or you just need someone to talk to, or you need a place to stay. Anything like that, there are people out there that can help you. So just know you are not alone, and it is not a weakness to ask for help. And I would much rather you tell someone what's going on than suffer in silence. Your maternity notes are super crucial, and I'm going to drill this into you. You need to carry them on you at all times. They need to be with your person, they need to be near your person. I know that I didn't share my pregnancy with a lot of people at the start of the pregnancy, but I did make sure that my younger sister, she knew where the folder was, what was inside it, and if anything did happen, she needs to make sure that the health providers had that folder in order to make sure that I got the right care that I needed. So one of the other kind of things that you do at the booking appointment is a few kinds of tests. So the first one is your urine test. I think that's to check the amount of HCG. If you've watched my other video, you know that there is a certain level of HCG hormone, which is the pregnancy hormone, that pregnancy tests can detect to confirm that you are pregnant. So the midwife would have to take your urine test, probably check for proteins and other stuff, but mainly to check for your HCG levels and confirm the pregnancy via your urine. They would also take bloods from you. I know that they took my blood. I did express concerns around sickle cell because I knew that my child's father's family had a history of sickle cell and that he could be a potential carrier, so it was important to get tested to see if I was a carrier, so we could make sure that there was the right care in place in case that we were carriers and what could potentially happen with our child. So they do take your bloods, they take your urine, and they run some tests on those. The other thing that we did speak about was regarding your child and you having a different blood type. If you and your child had a different blood type and your body starts to reject the child because the antibodies and how it works, your antibodies would start to reject the child, it would then attack the pregnancy and cause issues. So it's very important that this is why you need to go to your appointments to find out early on if that is the case, so they can give you the medications in order to make it so that wouldn't happen. That wasn't my case, but I know that's what they would do. So just make sure you go to it, and they will do some tests around the blood, the urine, those kind of things to make sure that everything is fine and that your baby and you are getting the right care. That is a brief rundown, as brief as possible, regarding how the booking appointment went for me, especially in the pandemic. If you do have an upcoming booking appointment, this is where you will get your maternity notes from. She'll fill out all of your information, and this is where things like your family history, those kind of things will go into it. Just make sure that if you take anything in this video, keep your maternity notes with you. Once you get them from your booking appointment, keep them safe, keep them with you, keep them close by, because this is what you will need throughout your entire pregnancy. I take this to every single appointment I have, and all the doctors collate all the information into one place, and I just make sure that I have that on me at all times, just in case anything happens, that everything is there, and whatever provider I go to, they have access to the same information. So make sure you keep those notes on you. Your midwife should give you a bunch of helpful phone numbers, like the triage numbers for the hospital, those kind of things, in case anything does happen. If you have any queries, like how to get hold of them, use it. Use those numbers, use those email addresses, leave messages, whatever you need to do to have peace of mind during your pregnancy, because at the end of the day, you are having a baby, and it's very important that if you do feel something off, or you do feel that you need a little bit of support, that you ask for it, or you ask the questions, because there are a lot of midwives out there that do want to help you, and they would rather you be reassured and have peace of mind than sit at home and worry and stress. I know that's been my experience, where they have made sure to help me when I am feeling a bit anxious about something or a bit concerned. They've made sure to listen to me and make me feel heard and reassure me that everything is fine. So guys, that is what happened in my booking appointment. It did end up being about just over an hour, because I do really like to talk, as you can probably tell. So expect it to be like 45 minutes to an hour, depending on if you know all of the medical history. Obviously, some people take longer than others. If you know the medical history, that's great. If you don't stress too much. If you can figure out when your last period was, that would be really helpful as well. But again, it's not crucial. A rough idea will defo help, because you will be having a dating scan a few weeks after your booking appointment to confirm the measurements of when your baby should be due. So don't worry too much, don't stress too much. They are here to help you. Just make sure that you do book your appointment within the first 10 weeks. I know for some people you may have found out a little bit later, but as long as you make sure you to book that appointment as soon as you find out, that has to be one of the first things you need to do. You should be absolutely fine. If you have any questions or you want to know any more specific information about things that happened during the booking appointment or what followed, do drop a comment down below and I will read through them and reply to them or come up with an answer in future videos for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell button if you would like to be notified when I upload a new video, which I hope to do weekly.